Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It's Tuesday, June 29th. In this episode, there's a lot to discuss. The Dutch get wrecked by the Czechs. Italy needs extra time to survive their first big test. But first, this was the greatest day of European football ever. Mike, what was your favorite part of today?
My favorite part was watching all the Spain fans have to be like, okay, fine, Morata's not a terrorist and he's not the worst. When he smashed home the winner in extra time. But no, I think watching the penalties, watching the two comebacks for Croatia and Spain, everything, it was just unbelievable.
It had never happened. They were in the history of the European Cup, which I think is probably from the 50s. I'm not sure. Because they slowly but surely have been adding more and more stuff. And we did find that tweet about money and Conference Europa. That's a whole nother show for like.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that probably later.
But yeah, no 3-1 comebacks ever. And then we have two in
5
one
hours.
day. Yeah. It's just, and I was traveling. I was been in San Diego and running around. So I was catching bits and pieces as I was running along. Saw the whole back half of the French game. Saw the comeback from Croatia, went to take a shit, and then Spain annihilated them after I had tweeted to Chari something that I noticed about Spain. But that was an incredible game. You know, it's one of these, with the Croatia thing, it's like belief versus skill, collective spirit versus expectation. There's a lot of narrative themes around Spain. The Spanish team is very, very young, and I know why they don't have Ramos in the side, because I think like they're like the world champs at 4 age levels over the last 10 years.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I mean, all you have to do as well is to look at Ramos's buddy Pepe and like, dude, how bad does he look, or did he look? And we'll talk about that a little bit later on, you know, with Belgium and Portugal. But yeah, it makes sense to not have Ramos. He's slow.
But then you felt it at the end of that game. You're like, Ramos would have shithoused someone.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? He would have taken a red to stop a goal. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like done something absurd, right? So, Mike, where do you want to go?
Well, I want to start there. I want to start with Spain and Croatia because they got some unfortunate news before the game even started. Ivan Perisic, arguably their best player, certainly their best player, not named Luka Modric, not available to play. Right. Yeah. COVID matters again, despite the fact that we have full stadiums. So he's out.
Not in Russia. It doesn't matter.
Well, right. Yeah. And so I picked Croatia to go through in this game. I would not have picked them if, you know, even Perisic was not on the field. But yeah. And so the crazy thing about today is that arguably maybe the weirdest, wildest thing happened and nobody's going to talk about it. Spain scored on themselves from midfield. Okay,
incredible.
They shicked themselves.
Yeah,
right.
It was a as we call, you know, our friend Chari, who shows up a lot. But we're fans. Are we fans? I'm a fan of Shaka Hislop on ESPN FC sure. And Ali Moreno and all their catchphrases. It was a Shaka-strophic royale.
Yeah, it was insane. It's insane. And so
he just flat missed it. It was pathetic.
Yeah, and. It was so weird. His game, Unai Simon was so. Listen, that could happen to anybody, right? Like, fine. I don't even think he got the own goal, which I think was really kind of criminal. I'm going back now. They gave it.
It was Pedri who got it.
They got Pedri on the own goal.
Who was actually incredible in the game.
And how is that not Unai Simon's own goal? Like,
because he whiffed.
But that's your fault, dude.
Yeah, it's your fault, but it's a whiff.
Oh,
you didn't touch it.
That's wild. But so, okay, yeah. So they score on themselves from literally midfield. Shocking. Early in the game. And it was weird because I actually hadn't tuned in at that point. I was in a meeting and working on other stuff. And I was checking just like the stats. And possession was 85-15 Spain. And I went, oh, they're crushing them. And then I literally refreshed FOTMob, my favorite app. And it's 1-0. Croatia. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, oh my God. Crazy. So Spain, from then on, they're like, hey man, we got you. We're going to pick you up. And they did immediately, right? They end up going 3-1 up. Sarabia, Azpilicueta with a great goal, and then Ferran Torres coming off the bench. Just another fantastic effort. 3-1, 77 minutes in. And then all hell breaks loose, right? So,
Ferran Torres was man of the match. He set up Azpilicueta. He scored the finishing goal.
Yeah.
And Spain looked good. And then one of the themes, if we talked about the Champions League, what happened with the Spanish teams, one of the things I think about a lot, and one of the things we've talked about earlier with the Spain is still playing from 10 years ago. Everyone is much more athletic because they press, because they have a different way. And it felt like Croatia's athleticism, fitness, something. It seemed like in the last 15 minutes, either Modric or Brozovic or Kovacic or whoever had come out with them or Orsic, they were just running through them. They were just like, it was like a team of Renato Sanchez's running through Spain. Now, Spain had a lot of nice buildup. Like they'd take balls in tight spaces and find the guy and build through the lines. And then they would run through. And so we really got up and down. But then when Croatia needed to come back, they just seemed to bully. They just would run through them.
So I think one specific thing happened. And before we go any further, Dani Olmo, who's a phenomenal talent, came on as a sub as well. He missed a chance to make it 4-1. He got a little cheeky. He tried to chip and he missed. Or it was stopped, I should say. And that's going to go down as a footnote of footnotes in this game. But there's never a comeback if he just slots that home, right? Yeah. So that's that. Luis Enrique, I was saying, and actually Chari said it as well, our buddy, that the substitutions were like for like, but the style changed, right? They sat back, but they offered the ball. They have Rodri, they have Thiago on the bench. Neither of them even were warming up before extra time.
I mean, and that's a problem, right? Spain cannot sit and defend. This is where that athleticism thing comes in.
Right.
Because they don't have the athletes.
Yep.
Like they try and move as a group and guys just run past them, right? It's like a team of Jorginhos, right? Like they just get run past, right? Yeah. And so when they don't possess the ball, which is their form of defending, they're fucked because they don't have, I mean, it's not about slowness or whatever. It's not about pure speed. It's just, there seems to be a lack of acceleration, a lack of power, just a lack of some juice. I mean, Busquets has never been that, right? No. And he still was out there
playing. An aircraft carrier, right?
No, but I mean, he's there to touch a ball, move it, touch and move, that kind of thing. I mean, Azpilicueta is old and he's their most athletic guy,
sure,
right? Because if he could play for Chelsea under Mourinho, that means he can run like a fucking deer all day.
Yep.
Right. And he gets exposed at this point. So it seemed the impetus, and we're talking about Croatia. They fought because that's just like, do you understand? I've been bombed in Sarajevo. I've killed. My family comes from killers, right? This is like Balkan death march. This game is nothing. I'll kick your ass, you Spaniard scumbag. Right? No one expects the Spanish Inquisition except the fucking Croatians. They're ready for it.
They were set. They're ready to go. 92nd minute, Mario Pasalic ties the game.
The easiest goal I've ever seen. He just went right through the middle.
Right through. Incredible. And so now the Spanish are completely just dumbfounded, right? They're so confused that I think it's almost as if like in a boxing match when you kind of get hit stupid and then like you get one that kind of wakes you up a little bit. Because in extra time, now granted, some poor defending by the Croatians, in fairness, but our friend Dani Olmo again cuts down the right wing with a great ball, and it falls to Alvaro Morata.
I mean,
and I'm just shocked that he hammered it. I mean, hammered it home.
But to be fair, like look at the difference, right? Like Spain can bring on Olmo, can bring on Oyarzabal, can bring on Rodri. I mean, these are like. And these are the people who are involved in the final goals, right? They just can bring on better players.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And well, first of all, I don't think anybody here is saying that the quality and the talent levels of Spain and Croatia are equal, right?
No.
Maybe like I said, Perisic and Modric are up to snuff and better than anybody Spain has, but on balance, 1-11, it's really not close. And even more so as far, you go further down the depth chart. So Morata finishes quite a good finish, smashes it home short side in the corner.
He wasn't offside?
No, I don't think he was. Finally, first time in the tournament, right? Oyarzabal puts one in a few minutes later. And so it's interesting. I was saying this to somebody that extra time is awesome. I mean, it's cool. Extra is awesome when a goal is scored, because then it's all hell breaks loose again, because the other team needs a goal, and
Right,
it's
they
more
can't
than
just wait.
it's almost like if there's one goal scored, it's almost a guarantee for another in some direction, because the other team's going to be pressing so hard that they're going to be naked at the back, basically.
Right.
And that's effectively what happens. Croatia come close a few times. And that's what I mean. Unai Simon makes a couple of really nice saves, more than makes up for that gaffe that we talked about earlier. And they end up closing it out. But
right. And it looks
actually
like a
had
crazy
one
basketball score, 5-3, goofy game where guys who are relatively fresh score the goals in the end, right?
Yeah, but Croatia has one called off for offside. I don't know, 113th, 14th minute, which would have made it crazy again right to the end. So it was actually unfortunate that Spain got the second goal as early as they did, because it's sort of like Croatia's already limping and they basically just shot him again.
Can we go back one step to our
Yeah.
friend the previous day on Saturday for Italy versus versus Austria? My friend Marco Arnautovic got fucking VAR'd, and he would have taken out the Italians.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we could talk about that. I mean, here's the thing.
I thought that Italy were terrible and the Austrians were incredible, and Arnautovic had the moment. And I think once that moment didn't come, it seemed weird that Mancini only made changes like in the 80th minute, brings on Chiesa, incredible, runs in behind, extra time comes, and Italy
as well.
Just blow them all away.
So I have a theory about our buddy Arnautovic. He's similar to a player on Spurs. He's meaner, but he's similar to Eric Lamela, right?
Yeah,
and so the theory is that there's a Nazi war criminal who's fleeing Germany. And at first he goes to Austria and he has his son and he names him Marco. And then he's like, okay, I really got to get the fuck out of Europe. And he goes to Argentina and he has another son.
They're separated at Eric.
Yeah, Eric. And they're separated
at birth.
They don't know they're brothers, but they have the same father.
Yeah, same energy. They do have the same energy.
A lot of the same energy.
That kind of vertical running. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It kind of looks like a centaur running. Like, oh my goodness.
Right. Yes, it does. It does. But I mean, I was in a bar filled with Italians, and I kicked off the madness. Like, I just went nuts for the Arnautovic goal, and I was just cursing the Italians, and then they all started getting mad at me. I literally turned on the crowds because they were done. No one seemed to be paying attention, and I went bonkers. Come on, you Lions! Because I'm like, Austria's gonna win. This is amazing. I mean, there's like, we're going through the fifth battle of some river in northern Italy. The battle of independence for Italy. They take themselves away from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Austria is going to have a chance to grab Milan back and grab the Lombardy back, but they just didn't have a chance. And Italy, rightfully won. And we started singing Mancini, Manchester City songs. It was just
so it came full circle. So you had a pint and a smile with everybody then.
Yeah.
All right, that's
and
good.
Then the Dutch again. One of our themes, Frank de Boer is gonna fuck it up, and lo and behold, he fucked it up.
Yeah.
Now De Ligt did get sent off, but he still had them playing in this odd style, and even with 10, they didn't have a shot on target.
No, but I'm not going to really look at the game after the red card, because there's enough there for me before the red card to say that the Czechs were very much in the game. They had, I believe, 48% possession up to right around when the red happened. And by the way, if he doesn't take that red card, that's a goal. That's 100%
no, it's
a goal.
not.
Yes, it is. It's the ball's bouncing away from him towards the box.
First of all, De Ligt fucked that up. Everybody knows when you're a kid. Even I know this. Don't let the ball bounce. What are you doing?
No, I know, but what I'm saying is he fucked up, right? So either he lets it, he loses the ball, and it's basically a breakaway, I think, for Schick.
Well, but listen,
it's
being down 1-0 to Czech Republic is not. You don't get sent off ever. Just you don't.
I don't know that it was as intentional as
No,
as
he
the
fell
slow-mo.
and he went over him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the outcome, especially being what it was in the situation where it was, it's a red card.
It killed the game. It's a shame they had to call it. They VAR'd it, and once it was done, it seemed that the Dutch didn't have a second gear to like get out of being beat.
Well, Gini Wijnaldum was the only guy scoring goals for them, realistically. Weghorst had one or two, but he didn't even start. He came off the bench. I never really was a big believer in this Netherlands team. I know you weren't much either.
I wasn't either. I didn't believe in.
We both picked them to win Group C, I believe, because
I have
who the
no
fuck
idea
was in Group C? Austria, Ukraine, and North Macedonia. Yeah,
I don't even know who I picked. I know
well, I have got it.
I've got Sweden going a long way.
Yeah.
No,
we've got
in the pool.
Oh, in the bracket. Yeah. Well, all right. Look, the thing is that, and it's true of Italy, and it's true of Netherlands, and it's frankly, it's true of Spain as well. They weren't tested really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you get to the knockouts, and now you're sitting there watching a Czech Republic team who's scrappy as all hell, very similar to that togetherness, that belief we talked about with Croatia, arguably even more so because
they all play together.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's basically Slava Prague and West Ham.
Yes. And those guys had been at Slava Prague the season before.
Right, exactly. And so you've got that togetherness, you've got that cohesion and that chemistry even more than the Croats. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that result at all. In fact, in my pool had the Czechs. I have them in the Final Four, actually.
Damn, you're crazy, But I do have one thing that is a sort of overall observation. And I don't have a good sense of history, but my observation is either styles of play has changed or there's a level of belief and a level of quality throughout these teams that's really high. Like there's no like these national sides aren't like, oh, they all play for Slavia Prague. It's like, this is Slavia Prague who fucking almost got out of a group stage in the Champions League, right? Like, and then all the other teams like Bundesliga, La Liga, Premier League. It's not like these clubs are like rolling in with guys from the Championship, except for Wales, who are a weaker side. But like, I feel like the level of play was really high, and there seems to be the press and counter sort of culture that's come from the Bundesliga, frankly, and has translated. Guardiola brought with him that sort of pressing from the front to disrupt teams when you're going to sit deep, and then knowing when to sit deep. So that the teams are really good. Like I can't tell necessarily that the Czechs are much worse than the Dutch or much worse than Spain. I mean, Spain almost lost today and against Croatia, a bunch of old dudes who, granted they were in the semifinal, but they had a easy run. And then we're going to get to Switzerland, France. I mean, Switzerland doesn't have a pedigree, but you know what? They've got fucking guys who play at a high level who aren't afraid. And a lot of these big teams live on their depth, but this is a one-off game, and Switzerland showed it today. I mean,
yeah. And so I agree, but I think there are some factors where there's been some serious dud games. And I think that Belgium and Portugal was a good example of that. I mean, I was so excited for Belgium, Portugal. I'm the narratives.
I thought it was good. It just didn't have goals.
Belgium won the game with a 0.2 expected goal difference, or not difference, expected goals, right? Like they didn't bring much for me. Portugal seemed far more pedestrian than I expected them to.
Because on paper they had, aside from Harry Kane, the most prolific goal creator in the league.
Yeah.
Do nothing.
Well, he didn't even play.
Fernandes was terrible and then didn't play.
Right.
Bernardo Silva was terrible. I thought Ronaldo showed up. Sanchez came out of nowhere, like resurrected from the dead.
Yep.
Pepe's playing, which is bizarre.
Right.
Semedo, thank God, didn't play. That's why they didn't get lit up.
It's true. Then I thought Jota was good, but I mean,
I don't think, and Belgium's good. I didn't feel like Alderweireld and Vertonghen got exposed.
I expected more fireworks, a lot more fireworks out of that game, and it was sort of a snooze fest. And I think
it was tactical.
Sure,
I thought it was good. I didn't find it to be boring, and I thought that one of the things that's really unfair about that Thorgan Hazard goal was that was all Lukaku. He fucking
Absolutely
takes that ball from outside the inside 18-yard box, puts it on his chest with 3 guys around him, turns, drives into the box with guys draped all over him. Then there's a second phase where they pass it around a little and Hazard gets there. But it wouldn't have been able to have happened without Lukaku just kicking the shit out of the entire Pepe side of the defense again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. On that goal, I'm curious your opinion. Rui Patricio, I know it was knuckling. Should he have done better?
He's been bad. I thought the
No.
I thought when I saw it go in, I thought that was savable.
It was. Granted, that ball knuckled a lot.
No, but I know. No, it was, it went all over the place. But if you watch Wolves, he was bad. That's one of the weaknesses, I think, now. He's living.
We talked about it.
He's one of these living on reputation guys, right?
Right.
He might have been a step the wrong way.
That's where I think I saw the goal, the behind the goal camera, and he did look like he was 1 or 2 steps.
Well, he
to
did.
The right.
He was leaning the other way. Throw him off. So, but that was good, and I thought, but Belgium are gonna have to dig deep because De Bruyne got fucking hit with a sledgehammer
again,
and he's out. Mertens is 35. Like this is
Hazard is out too. Eden Hazard is out.
He's been out. Like he's just
he was on the field, right?
I know he played, but he's a mess.
Far be it from me, Tottenham supporter, Chelsea hater here. Understood. I think Eden Hazard has been outright bad this entire tournament on the field for however long he's been there, and I think that it will actually free up Belgium's midfield a little bit.
Well,
I think Tielemans going to feel a little bit more free.
Tielemans and Witsel.
Yeah.
There's like, listen, I love me some Brighton, but they're going to have to play Leandro Trossard.
Yeah, they are.
And I think that the way they really need to play is because I know he can't finish, but Trossard gets into spaces and he's just got to stop trying to score and make sure he gets it to Lukaku because he's good. He's just not awesome. And then I don't trust Vertonghen and Alderweireld to, I do trust Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Courtois. I don't trust it with Lloris. Right?
And I think Yannick Carrasco comes in. I think he does a job.
He just too much dribbling.
Yeah, I know, but so does Hazard, right? He thinks he's still, at Chelsea from 5 years ago, and he's not that guy anymore. So
yes.
He was downright bad for a few times that I saw.
But we saw Belgium without De Bruyne, and they had a hard time. They're really going to have to rely on Lukaku.
Right. Like I said, without De Bruyne, that scares the shit out of me. But without Hazard, I think that it's no big deal. I
don't think that's a big deal.
So but they get the Italians. And we're going to look into the other big game of the day right after this. And we want to take care of paying the bills here and do a little live read, courtesy of the Chop Sports Podcast Network. And speaking of saving money on our bills, our friend Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting has a very unique way to save you plenty of cash on your monthly bills. Visit attitudeofgratitudeconsulting.com for more info.
We like to snack over here at the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast, especially after flying. And man, we just received our shipment of some of the seasonings that the Sunflower Meadow Seasonings sent us. They even have a brand new cheddar beer dip, exclusively made for the Chop Sports Network. It's delicious. You have to try it. Mention Chop Sports when you talk to Jess and save some money. Visit sunflowermeadowseasonings.com for their entire lineup of products.
All right. So we talked about how crazy Spain Croatia was. And it was. That was the earlier game today.
Yeah.
That we basically had to reset and be like, okay, oh my God, the France and Switzerland lineups are out. Now you look into that and you go, okay, Switzerland's scrappy. There shouldn't be a huge problem here for the comfortable tournament favorites and rightful world champions, France.
Yep.
Wow. Wrong. It was frenetic again, right from the jump. Switzerland gets the jump on them. They're in the game early on, and Seferovic finishes off a great header from Zuber. And in 15 minutes, it's 1-0 Switzerland, and you're sitting there, which again Same thing happened to Spain. They kind of get gut punched early on, and you're like, okay, they'll be fine, but that was a little shaky, right? So let me get your perspective 15, 20 minutes into that match.
France playing it 3 at the back. They don't know what their best players are. Lenglet's in the game for the first time since he's in the wilderness. Barcelona fans know he's terrible. Why is he playing? So you have this great partnership of Varane and Kimpembe. They're used to playing as a 2, and then someone's between them. That didn't work. Yep. So France were sluggish and didn't really have anything going on. And you know what? I'll give fucking Granit Xhaka credit. He's going against what is considered the greatest midfield in Europe right now. He fucking kicked their ass.
He was great.
And listen, Pogba did a lot of good things. He always does good things, but he does have that habit of fucking around on the ball. And the tying goal happened because he fucking fucked around on the ball.
Well, hold on. We'll get that far. We'll get
right. But Xhaka was just, I think it's the thing that's so frustrating for Arsenal fans is when he's good, he looks world class. And if you're not on his case or forcing him to defend, right, or forcing him to foul you, because that's really his problem is he's not athletic enough. The guys, you can run past him.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like, the Swedes protected him with a back 5. They went with the 3 at the back and the wing backs, and they were able to protect Xhaka so that he could boss the game. And they did.
You go into halftime. Coman comes on for Clément Lenglet, which I think we both were like, okay, that makes sense. A, you're chasing the game right now. B, I was curious about how tactical he would be because I know he's a burner. He was fantastic, and then Benzema just takes over for a little while. But before that, we get a penalty incident, chintzy penalty. I didn't love the call. I understood it, but fine. It was one of those where the foul is on literally barely the white line, and
that penalty changed the game.
Yeah, well,
for France.
But they had the who was it? Clattenburg. He's talking on air about how the foul continues into the box. And I'm like, oh, that sucks, dude. Like, and I started to think about some of the big game saves that Hugo Lloris has made in the run up to this penalty. And obviously there are a few against Man City that come to mind right away.
Well, I don't understand is how's Xhaka not taking that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Or Schär. Like, yeah, that's Schär from fucking Newcastle who has a rifle for a foot.
So, Ricardo Rodriguez steps up and man, France is in deep shit here.
You know what?
Go down too.
I knew it. I knew who he was missing. He did not look like he wanted any part of that penalty.
No, he didn't. And he goes, bottom right to Hugo Lloris' right, makes a good save, grabs it. And at that point, you knew it was coming really fast, right? Like it's going to happen. That was, I'm looking now, the 55th minute and in the 57th minute, Benzema. Oh, what a 1-2. What a 1-2.
The thing that you started to see was like Pogba getting on the ball, picking his head up. And that dude, when he's good, you just like, holy shit, like please never let this version of Pogba ever be at United because they'll win the league.
Yeah.
Because he's incredible. Right. He picks passes. It's not like he doesn't break the line. He breaks 2 lines at once. Mm-hmm. It's like boom, boom. And he's just, you're in. And you have Mbappe running forward, and you've got these 2 sort of bookends that make him so powerful, which is Mbappe on one side and Conte on the other, mirroring him where he goes. So to protect for his stupid mistakes that he makes when he's on the ball. And then the through balls are fantastic. But to your point, that Benzema goal, it's behind him, and he somehow is able to take it and bring it into play and then touch it over the keeper. I mean, listen, nobody doubts Benzema. The funny thing was that they were playing with Giroud all this time for some stupid reason because they tried to fucking extort some little guy.
Right.
His drug dealer friends were.
Exactly. 55 minutes, the penalty is stopped. 57 and 59 minutes, all of a sudden France lead. It's 2-1 again. Benzema with a brace, bang, bang. And at that point, you're like, okay, I've seen some shit today. I'm pretty sure France has it under control. In fact, in the write-up for this episode, we were going back and forth. And initially I had written, okay, France has trouble early, but a big save and a couple of goals, and they cruise to a relaxing win or whatever it was. Because 20 minutes later, or 15 minutes later, I should say, Pogba goal of the tournament, you think?
It was pretty good.
It's one of you can just see the ego on him when he gets that much space.
He did have in that spot. He's like a 20% goal scorer from there. And
no, absolutely.
And 20% is like good for his finishing.
Yeah. But I'd say 25 yards out, center of the box, and he's got 5 yards of space, and he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, watch this," and he just curls a post stamp. Oh, it was fantastic, and the speed on those on that is often. That's often the thing where you're like, it's kind of this like curling ball. That was a rocket ship.
It's going fast.
That was a rocket.
It was almost not Christensen level, but Christensen's is the goal of the tournament. But
yeah, that's fair.
But it didn't have but in this case, Pogba provides the force, right? Christensen it's coming back at him fast.
Right.
He touches it and it fucking flies like a laser beam. But then the Swiss get chippy. They get a goal back from Seferovic. I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess.
No, that was not my reaction.
Then Griezmann comes on for Sissoko. Griezmann is the hardest.
Way around. Sissoko.
All right. This is the mistake that Deschamps make. The first half was a total mistake, but then taking Griezmann off was a mistake because Griezmann is the only one of the front guys who presses.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he thought Sissoko would bring a defensive mentality or something.
Which he does, and he covers.
And then 2 minutes later, Xhaka, it makes the pass of the tournament. France has just opened up. And
so, okay, hold on. It literally looked like a pass from FIFA where you're just annoyed and you keep throwing through balls up to your striker. And the one time you're like, holy shit, it worked. Yeah. But all right, so it's a 40-yard pass on a line to Seferovic.
After a turnover from Pogba in midfield.
Right. I'm sorry, not Seferovic, Gervanovic. After a Pogba turnover. So he basically takes the ball, takes two, like, again, similar to what we were saying before, puts his head up, sees him, and he goes, this is our shot. Takes it. Now, the underrated part of this play is that Gervanovic takes it, and I don't know if it was Varane, but he
jukes him and kills him.
He jukes him, yeah. And he gets free, and he shoots from 20 yards, bottom right corner.
But these are good finishes. I think the other thing was that's literally the first time Conte was not there.
Right.
Like, that's the spot he's there.
Yeah.
And he had gotten taken out of the play because he was closer to Pogba trying to pick up a second ball after the turnover.
Yep.
So Xhaka runs past Conte, and that's what makes the whole thing open up.
But even to give an idea, because I think we're burying a little bit here, they get the 3-2 goal, and it's all popping off again. They actually do score, and it's called off for offsides.
He's way off though.
7th minute, sure, but the ball is in and around the France goal.
Right, something is wrong.
Minutes. Something is very wrong with the France defense. And then, like you said, a bad turnover in an opportune spot without coverage. Xhaka pings a ball into Gervanovic. One great move, great shot, and we're tied.
We go into extra time though.
That's wild.
Extra time is Kingsley Coman. Nothing really happens. Giroud comes on. He doesn't really do much. He has one header that another time he might finish. He put a lot of power in it, but right to the keeper.
Like late in the end. Yeah.
And then Coman just opens up their wing and fucking hits the post in the last second of the game.
Yeah.
And then there's some players that just didn't have good performances. Like Mbappe, not only did he not have a good game.
Well, he was key in one of the goals.
Right.
But other than that, though, sort of invisible.
Yeah. And then we go to penalties. The Swiss take their penalties really well. Like there's not a bad one in the group. Again, Schär takes a penalty. I was like, yeah, he's good. No shit.
Took the second.
I thought Kimpembe's was incredible. Thuram is 21 years old. Pogba, Giroud, all really good ones, but low confidence. Didn't look good walking up there. Mbappe looked like a lost little frog, like his face always looks like. It would look like Pepe the frog, but he was Pepe the French frog. And he missed, and France is out. I was not upset. I probably should have been, but I don't know. I think I had them as the winners. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I had anyone else. So I'm probably out. Unless
There are there are 28 people who had them in the semifinal. 10 people
I had
them
them 2-0 against Sweden.
in the final.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're one of 10 people who had them winning it all. They were the second most chosen team to win it all. So
right after Italy.
And there are no perfect brackets left, by the way. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the round of 16 is finished on our next show on Thursday. But there's one other game that I want to mention. We touched on it briefly. Denmark
that was a good game.
Beat the brakes off of Wales. It was, I would say, about 10 minutes in, Wales were controlling it. And Denmark just completely grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck from there on. And it was over. It was just a beating.
I think the thing that's happening with Denmark is the emotion and the narrative around Eriksen is clouding the fact that they are a real football playing good team. Those first two games didn't go well for them, but they played well, right? The Belgian game didn't go well for them, but they played well. And then the first game was the death game, the near-death experience game. We're like, how they're supposed to win that game? How the fuck is supposed to win that?
So,
and they've grown into the tournament. A lot.
Of course they have, right? And I think that they were a lot of people's dark horses with Christian Eriksen, but he wasn't going to do it by himself, right? So there was a lot of talent on this team, and there's one Taylor. I don't know if you heard this on the broadcast. Taylor Twellman said Kasper Dahlberg, who had one of the better goals of the tournament, he had COVID twice. He had to deal with appendicitis. And his teammate, when all Ruben Rivera has that for a reference, stole his $85,000 watch and sold it.
And he has no eyebrows.
And he has that's hereditary. And, and it's his first start, 25 minutes in, he scores an absolute beauty. And he puts one right back in just on the other on the other side of halftime. And it's 2-0. Now he was on the Ajax team that you guys beat in the final, right? Yeah, but he wasn't a main player on it. First of all, that team had 5 guys who got sold for more than $50 million almost directly after that. But I think, and so Denmark's fans are in delirium.
He got sold to Nice for 20.
Yeah, sure.
That's a lot.
No, I'm not saying
for Nice.
That's a lot. I want to one note. I think you'll love this. I don't know if you heard this on the broadcast. So this game, let me check exactly where it was played.
It was in Copenhagen, right? Or is it in the Netherlands?
It wasn't in Copenhagen. It was in Amsterdam. It was in the Netherlands. Ironically,
pretty close.
Ajax, yes, but the difference is, again, there are different countries. And one of the things I'm so impressed with this tournament is that they're able to pull it off with so many different governments and regulations and rules based around COVID, right?
Yep.
So the interesting thing is that I don't know who was with Twellman on the call, but I think it might have been John Champion.
They're paired. They're only
right. So he described that the Denmark fans drove to the Germany border and they stayed there until exactly 12 hours after the game would be over, essentially. And then they all boarded buses and they went into the Netherlands because that was the minimum amount of time, or the maximum amount of time they could be in the stadium without having to stay there and then quarantine. So these fucking people went from Denmark to the German border, stayed there as long as humanly possible, and then they timed it out like crazy, like sociopaths. I love it. After seeing those stadiums in Copenhagen go absolutely crazy, I'm loving the Denmark team. I want to be one of those ultras, right? Like, yeah. Imagine,
or like the picture of the Dutch all dancing, even though they fell apart.
Yeah. But like, just first of all, the maniacal sense to be like, okay, the game starts at 6. The game's going to end at 8:15. That means we got to get the fuck out of there by 9:30.
I think there are two. The Danes, the Swedes, the Dutch, they've taken national team fandom and made it a festival. They don't get angry. They don't fight. Everyone just wears orange. Win or lose, they're okay.
Well, it's because they're playing with house money most often.
Almost all the time. Right. Exactly. Right.
It's not like Germany
There's an article in The Athletic comparing Portugal and Belgium. I didn't realize both countries just a shade over 10 million people.
Oh yeah, they're small.
How the fuck does the United States not get better at soccer? What the hell is wrong with us?
We're too big.
Bullshit. We suck. Losers.
But we have to end the show on the big topic of today.
No.
And I waited to preview this until Laurent was back on the show because it's not a good Germany England preview without 10 German bombers in the air. So
yeah. Well, until Germany won the World Cup, the English had a very famous chant of 2 worlds and 1 World Cup. Doo-da, doo-da. And they would chant that as a group. That was exciting. This is probably the worst German side since that there was a 2002 or 2006 German side.
2006 was bad.
And then the one that just passed was bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get out of the group. And it's still the same coach. I do not trust Jogi Löw. I think they flatter to deceive because Santos from Portugal made Goossens look like he was the second coming of fucking Cafu. And I don't think the Germans have enough goal scoring, have enough midfield creativity. If the best version of England shows up, they should beat Germany. Mm-hmm. But I do not trust Gareth Southgate to not act like fucking Montgomery and be afraid, right? Having survived World War I and gotten the shit kicked out of him in 4 other battles and be like, yeah, we're going to wait here. We're just going to play 2 holding midfielders because those Stukas, they're going to come. They have no Stukas. They got nothing. The Germans have nothing. Go get them. They're just not good right now. Like, I don't understand the English defeatist fear that they have. It's this inability to play free. And I think the funny thing is the players themselves strike me as being free of that, but the press and the nation are not. Now, Gareth Southgate does know what it's like to have all of England destroyed with your actions. He missed a penalty against Germany in 1996. The famous
Euro 96.
Gareth Southgate, the whole of England is with you. Oh, it's saved. And then they go into the song. We still believe. That's how It's Coming Home. The song starts.
Yeah.
With a chant over of Gareth Southgate mything. So everyone knows who Gareth Southgate is, but he's a middling at best manager who's very good at PR, but he has put a handbrake on this team that should be better. Or at least go out losing. Lose 5-3, right? No one's going to be mad at you. Think Croatian fans are mad that Croatia lost 5-3 to Spain after bringing them to extra time? You think Swiss fans would have cared if they had lost that game 3-1 or lost on penalties 3-3? No. They were up for the fight. They played with team spirit. And I think if England play with some joy and play Foden and Grealish and, maybe Harry Kane's not fit. Don't play him. Play someone who wants to fucking run the channels. Do you know what I mean? Like, let it be Calvert-Lewin with wingers, with Foden. I don't know the right answer, but play the guys who want to fucking go, don't carry a weight on their back. And I think as much as I love Harry Kane, I think he does carry the weight of England on his back a little bit.
Oh, he certainly does.
Right? He's talked about as the England player, and he seems to lately, because he gets played so many minutes over the season and has to carry so much of Spurs, like he's playing with weight on his back.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe have him come on, right? Where he's like free. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're losing? Harry Kane's coming on, right? I mean, that's one of the things that I actually respect about Raheem Sterling. He runs. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I'm black and English. I don't give a fuck. People don't like me anyway. No matter what I do, you hate me.
That's inherently true. You've got Mason Mount is out of protocols. You've got Phil Foden, who was rested, from what I understand, only to avoid yellow card suspension.
Okay.
You've got Jack Grealish, Sterling. Here's a name. Bukayo Saka looked fantastic in their last group stage game. So
what's he going to play, fullback, or is he going to play wing back?
I'm saying all those guys. You've got basically 3 spots for those guys because Kane's going to start, right? Kane's the captain of your team. He's going to start. I'm not saying whether it's the right move or the wrong move.
I think in central midfield, it has to be Mount because he seems to be the only one who will play a forward ball.
I got to think it's Grealish over Mount.
You play it. You drop Sterling and play fucking Grealish.
Okay. But so let's assume they go 4 across the back.
Right.
You're gonna have Rice and you're gonna have Phillips.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't need 2. You play 1.
Okay.
You play Mount back there, and you sort of you play it as a 3, and you play Rice the holder. Then you play Grealish and Mount.
Interesting.
And then you play 3 across the front. Then you get Sterling and Foden and Kane.
Okay. With Saka on
they won't play the 3 because that's not what they're going to do. They're going to play 2 holding midfielders again.
Right.
Like they always do. The ridiculous thing is if they do play what's the guy you said before next to Rice? I can't remember his name from Leeds.
Calvin Phillips.
Phillips is the best passer of a forward ball on that team, but they don't use him for that. He makes guys do
game against Croatia.
But you watched Leeds. He was playing they played a 4-1-4-1 at Leeds.
Yeah.
And if Phillips had the ball, they all fucking took off.
Yeah. Right.
the 5 of them, they were gone.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. Can Bielsa just coach England?
No, he should coach the US.
Do you remember?
He should coach Spurs.
Do you remember the Chile team that he coached when he killed what's his name? Sanchez?
Alexis Sanchez?
Before that, because they were at a tournament before he went to Arsenal, before he was insane. Alexis Sanchez was the best player I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was Copa America when they beat Argentina in penalties, I believe.
Yes.
And Messi missed the penalty.
Yes.
Yeah.
That version of Chile was incredible. And they destroyed people. They played like Leeds.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Have you heard this story? The thing that Bielsa does, murder ball?
I've heard of it, but please.
Basically, the ball goes out of play and he instructs they have balls all along the side of the pitch. No resting. Ball goes out of play, throw it back in. There's no we have a stoppage. Nope. The ball just goes. So if the ball goes out of bounds, another ball just comes right back in.
Excellent.
So you have to play.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's why they're literally the fittest team in the world. Yeah. I fear England will play slow. Germany will just slowly pick them apart and they'll play afraid and just lose.
So in the interest of wanting Germany to be better, I want them to lose this game because then this is it. This is officially the reckoning for the old guard, for Jurgi Low, for everybody.
Well, he's going. This is it. He's not staying for the World Cup.
No, but so that's what I mean is that but this is going to be the.
They already have it. It's Hansi Flick. He's the next coach.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
However, I also do want England to progress a little further. I want to see. I mean, you know that I love Phil Foden. I love Jackie Grealish. I want to see this team make a run. And the thing is that this is the only really, really scary game they have in the entire side of their bracket until the final, right? And they're going to play somebody almost guaranteed significantly better than them in the final if they were.
I'm not afraid of Spain because England are way more athletic than them. They'll just run past them.
I don't think Spain gets there, but nonetheless, they're going to have to play Sweden and either the Czechs or Denmark to get to the final of the Euros if they beat Germany.
The thing is, Sweden and the Czechs will beat them because they're tough.
Right. But it's similar to the 2018 World Cup. They had a great role. They had Croatia was exactly
France
to your
is
point.
Gone.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's a massive, but you've still got Belgium or Italy in the semifinal. So
they won't beat Belgium because Belgium will just run right past them.
I know. And real quick, we are sleeping on my friend Yarmolenko. I think Sweden and Ukraine is a low key. It's going to be a later today game. So England, Germany is the earlier game. Sweden, Ukraine's going to finish up the round of 16. I think Sweden wins, but I'm excited for
my guy Forsberg is going to get this shit done.
I think it's Isak.
I'm in love with
Isak.
Isak. I'm in love with Forsberg. I have been since Forsberg played for Colorado. I've been in love with that name and that person for that long. So
My family named Forsberg.
any Swede named Forsberg, I'm in. He even looks. Oh, I can't even remember what the hell. What was that amazing guy named Forsberg who played
Peter
for Colorado?
Forsberg.
Yes, I never loved a hockey player more than Peter Forsberg.
Oh, he was so cool.
He always got hurt. Was his problem.
We're gonna have to do an episode totally unrelated about the Red Wings Avalanche rivalry of the '90s.
Yeah, I need to refresh myself because
hockey. I won't have to. I'll run that.
So I can think about McCarty. McCarty,
Chris Draper, Darren McCarty, Claude Lemieux, all of that crazy shit.
Fucking legends.
Oh, unbelievable. People bleeding on each other.
All bloodbath all the time.
Oh, it was great. It was great. But that is it. We're very excited. It's the round of 16 is coming to an end. We've got another huge game tomorrow. And like I said, don't sleep on Sweden and Ukraine. We'll be back later in the week and we'll be discussing that. We'll be talking about the bracket challenge and some, how that's shaping up. So a lot of you folks are competing and it's a lot of fun to watch it kind of unfold. So let's get out of here, Laurent.
All right. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Laurent. That's your name?
That's my name.
We represent the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We're so grateful to be a part of that crew. It's really fantastic. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, flying in from all parts of the world. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you are listening on Apple, please rate and review the show.
Before we go, what do you got tomorrow? Germany and England at Wembley.
It has to be England. If they lose on the road, it's worse. It's worse than the Battle of Britain, and we're all gonna have to drink like Churchill, which means just waving the bourbon over it and just drinking straight gin.
I have 2-1 England in extra time.
Ugh. You know what? How about this? It's a shitty, terrible 1-1, and England win on penalties.
I love it.
That would be incredible.